Hello, my friend. It's me again, BAWLER. I have some interesting news for you, as always. Please subscribe to my channel and write what you think about it in the comments. For Russian President Vladimir Putin, the war in Ukraine has become a battle of momentum. It has to be. At this point in the conflict, Russia must appear to be winning because momentum equals leverage in future peace talks. That's exactly why Putin launched a massive summer offensive. But there's one glaring issue. Russia is rapidly losing that momentum. The summer offensive, designed to show dominance, is crumbling. On June 30th, the New Voice of Ukraine reported that Putin had deployed 50,000 troops near the city of Sumy in northeastern Ukraine. His goal? To establish a buffer zone that would shield Russia's borders from Ukrainian counterattacks like the one we saw in August 2024 in the Kursk region. The more of Sumy Russia controls, the less likely such reversals become. Ukraine's commander-in-chief Oleksandr Syrskyi made it clear. Russia's strategy is to exhaust Ukraine with sheer manpower. This summer push, combined with previous offensives, has extended the front line by nearly 100 miles. Ukraine is now defending across a 750-mile-long front, facing pressure from nearly every direction. June saw a sharp uptick in Russian attacks in Sumy. Putin even threatened to capture Sumy's regional capital. According to President Zelensky, Russia has been using North Korean missiles in the region. Roughly 23% of all Russian strikes are now focused on the Sumy axis. But the advances haven't met Putin's expectations. Ukraine has already launched successful counterattacks, most notably retaking the city of Andriivka just days after Russian forces had seized it. Sumy isn't the only area in Putin's crosshairs. Donetsk remains a prime objective, specifically the city of Pokrovsk, a critical Ukrainian logistical hub. Taking Pokrovsk would bring Russia closer to the administrative boundary of Donetsk, allowing it to target additional cities like Slovyansk, Kramatorsk, and Konstantinivka. CNN reported on June 28 that Russia has stationed an astonishing 110,000 troops around Pokrovsk. That region, according to Syrskyi, has become the most intense hotspot along the front. Capturing Pokrovsk wouldn't just give Russia strategic depth, it would also hand them Ukraine's last operational coking coal mine. But despite the troop numbers, progress has been slow. Initially, it looked like Putin's offensive might succeed. The Telegraph reported that in May, Russia averaged 5.5 square miles of captured territory per day, adding up to over 170 square miles in 1 month, their best gains since November 2024. Some progress was also made in Donetsk and limited slivers in Sumy. However, these numbers mask a harsh reality. Russia's momentum has stalled. Analyst Angelica Evans from the Institute for the Study of War told the Telegraph that despite deploying massive numbers, Russia simply doesn't have the operational capacity to accomplish its goals this summer. What we're seeing, she says, is just a continuation of spring operations that were already underwhelming. Even the seemingly large gains, 170 square miles, don't include any major Ukrainian cities or fortifications. Most of that land was only captured because it was lightly defended. In April, Russia managed just 67 square miles. The month before, only 55 to 78. During this time, Russia has been losing about 1,000 troops per day. On May 30th alone, Ukraine inflicted over 1,200 Russian casualties. Across 3 months leading into June, Russia lost approximately 92,000 troops to gain 315 square miles, an average cost of 291 soldiers per square mile. This is why the 160,000 troops amassed for the summer offensive in Sumy and Donetsk don't look so intimidating when viewed through that lens. Zooming back in on Sumy, Putin has even floated the idea of capturing the city itself. At the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, he declared Sumy the next target. Though he claimed there were no official plans, Ukraine, however, has already made that decision for him. Syrskyi reported on June 26th that the front line in Sumy has stabilized and that Russian forces have been completely stalled. To address prior weaknesses in the region, Ukraine has established fortified zones, kill zones, and anti-drone corridors to better protect its logistics and personnel. Putin likely hoped to exploit perceived vulnerabilities in Sumy. He was wrong. His 50,000 troops have been halted, and Ukraine is actively strengthening defenses to make any Russian progress impossible. Please support my channel with a small donation. It's not much for you, but for me it's an incentive to keep going and bring you important news. I've included a PayPal link to support my channel in the description for this video. Thank you. As of the end of June, Ukraine is not just holding the line, it's pushing forward. According to the Kyiv Independent, Ukraine has taken the initiative in Sumy, advancing as far as Oleksivka, about 18 miles from the city. Russian efforts have stalled not just in Sumy, but also across the expanded front, including the Kursk border. This failure comes despite Russia deploying elite brigades, aircraft, long-range artillery, and attack drones. Zelensky confirmed the offensive has failed, crediting every Ukrainian unit defending the region. In his words, Sumy is a no-go for Putin. With Donetsk still on the table, perhaps Putin believes success lies there, but even that's a gamble. Analyst Evans told The Telegraph that while Russia has focused heavily on the fortress belt of Ukrainian defenses, including Kramatorsk, Sloviansk, and Konstantinivka, they have failed to make significant advances since the war's early stages. A Ukrainian non-commissioned officer told The Telegraph it would take 100,000 troops just to capture Kramatorsk alone. For comparison, 40,000 were needed for Andriivka and 70,000 for Bakhmut, both battles that included Wagner mercenaries, who brought much-needed skill to the fight. Today, that skill is lacking. In Konstantinivka, Ukrainian defenders are outnumbered 20-1 in some areas, but still hold their positions. Russia's newer troops lack the experience of earlier waves and are increasingly short on proper equipment. Nick Reynolds of the Royal United Services Institute noted that Russia's equipment attrition, especially in artillery and armored vehicles, is staggering. As of July 1st, Russia has lost nearly 30,000 artillery systems, 23,000 armored vehicles, and almost 11,000 tanks. Having tens of thousands of troops is meaningless without the tools to support them. Though Russia still has a manpower advantage, the nature of this war is grinding that advantage down. Ukraine is using this to its benefit, reclaiming initiative on the battlefield. As for the broader war, Putin's dream of a Sumy buffer zone is slipping further away. That zone was meant to protect poorly defended Russian regions like Kursk. But as of June 22nd, the BBC reported Ukraine still holds territory inside Russia's Kursk Oblast, territory it recaptured in August. Now, some of Putin's 50,000 troops meant for Sumy are being diverted to fight in Kursk. Instead of extending the front, Putin has ended up opening one he didn't expect. Ukraine may even launch a pincer attack from both Kursk and Sumy, stalling Russia's momentum entirely. All signs point to this war dragging on into 2026. CNN's Tim Lister and Kostya Gak report that despite ramping up attacks, Russia's summer offensive has been underwhelming. Putin insists Russia will fight until it controls all of Donetsk, as well as the contested regions of Kherson and Zaporizhzhia. But given Russia's current pace, achieving those goals could take years. Peace talks have also taken a backseat, as the Trump administration remains focused on Iran, not Ukraine. Meanwhile, both Ukraine and Russia are ramping up defense production. Rostec, Russia's top defense company, now produces 80% of the weapons used in the war. Its output has grown tenfold since 2021, bringing in up to $46 billion in 2024. Even if the offensive fails, this production lets Russia continue the war, but for how long? Nearly a third of Russia's budget now goes to the military. Defense spending has hit 6.3% of GDP. Putin recently announced plans to cut government spending in hopes of averting a full-blown economic collapse. Interest rates sit at 20%, with inflation near 10%. That means less money for the military, just as Russia's momentum collapses in Sumy and stalls in Donetsk. As the war grinds into 2026, Russia's strained economy will impact soldiers on the front. Fewer resources, fewer troops, and more opportunities for Ukraine to strike back. Putin's summer push may be a preview of worse days ahead, and while Russia still has missiles and drones, they don't hold ground. On June 29th alone, Russia launched a record 537 drones and missiles, most of which Ukraine intercepted. Still, Ukraine lost an F-16 pilot who shot down 7 Russian targets before his death. Drone and missile strikes may create headlines, but they don't take territory. That's up to ground troops. And this summer, those troops are failing. Russia's momentum is gone in Sumy. Putin's forces are far too weak to capture Donetsk. The summer offensive is collapsing and things are only getting worse.